about it right now. We are an AT&T. I'm Courtney with Cowboys Nation.
What is up? Welcome to another episode of Tag Nation. It's your boy Mike Tag, of course, with Jimmy D, the sidekick. Before we get started, make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, follow. We said it before, once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we got a nice little giveaway that we're going to be doing, a little raffle for, of course, it's going to be Cowboys memorabilia. That's just the way it is. Since it's Tag Nation, we got to support the Cowboy fans. So make sure you guys do that. We are getting stronger every week. I don't know if you saw, Jimmy, my last, one of my Instagram videos, all of a sudden things get crazy and it's up over 140,000 views. So when we slapped around Philly. So, you know, I always love that and get a lot of love. So just keep it going. What's you up to today?
Not much, man.
You got a look on your face. You got you got a cap on. You got a serious look. Right? How you feeling?
No,
you got nothing on the wall again as usual. Can't seem to get that right. I don't know what we're gonna do with you.
You know what, Mike? I'm sick and tired of hearing about this every week. Okay, first of all,
put something on your wall.
Every week, it's Jimmy D. Why is it so boring in the background? Jimmy D. Why is it so boring in the background? Jimmy D. Why is it so boring? And last week, it was boring, and I got a nut kick by somebody telling me the audio is low. What's next week complaint going to be? Do I need Just for Men? What's next? You know what? I've been telling you people all along. There's merch on the other side of this door. You know what, Mike? You're the star of the show. You got creative control, so you can say anything you want. But when I got to hear big mouths like Danny, before I worry about what's on my wall, I worry about that baldness on your head. Get that Jerry Jones toupee and staple it on. I got to hear Big Mouth Wayne in the background. Wayne, you have no athletic prowess. You are the epitome of what Bill Weddington was. If you don't know Bill Weddington, you young people, look it up. Then I got Harry Bagpipes Jim down the corner from here, busting my balls about things. And lastly, Lovis, you with the carpet growing on your back, you need to just shut your trap. All right. So that being said, tonight, I'm just going to give everybody a little look, a tiny look outside through that forbidden curtain. Dominic, Polaroids, now.
Well, for those of you guys listening on Spotify, let me just clarify. Make sure you also do, follow us on Spotify. They didn't get to see it. So we saw a little visual. My man Jimmy does have some merch. He's got the memorabilia. I wish he had some better teams up there representing, but hey, he supports them. I gotta love him for that. So you do got some. We just got to get something on the screen for the viewing audience to see. They see all my stuff and they look at yours. I don't want people dogging you too bad.
We might have to remedy that a little bit next week. But for those who didn't see it, we had some jerseys hanging in some frames. We had Matty Ice. We had Stefan Matteau. All my Devils Friends fans out there, you know who you are. Mikey Wee. Got Ray out there. Fish, another Devils fan. You remember him. He's the one who ripped your hearts out back in Game 7. We had MSG seats. We had a Matty Ice signed football with some other merch in the background. And we had some wrestling, professional wrestling Polaroids up there. One of me and Ric Flair autographed by both of us and Hogan.
Well, you know who got you the Matty Ice ball? Yours truly.
Yes. No, wait a minute.
You know who took the Polaroid?
Yes.
Being the nature boy. Yours truly. So I always hook my boy up with some good stuff too.
Now, where was Manatee County Civic Center? 1996. Remember those guys? We had the disposable camera and the guys photobombed us. Remember?
All I remember is some big dude when we're standing on the gates.
Yes.
We're still looking up to him. All he did was look down at us and said, "You better not step on my boots."
No, sir. Absolutely not.
No. So anyway, guys, he's got the stuff, but we want to get in this show. It is a slow, off season for us. You don't have the NFL. Basketball's still not getting into the playoffs. And again, I'm going to be leaning on my man Jimmy D for all the basketball knowledge. Baseball's in a lockout. They're circling the drain if they don't get things straight.
Yeah.
College football is still waiting on that. But I will say the everything is looking right for them. So I'm excited to be talking about the U come fall. So, but let's just step in. We're going to touch on some topics in the NFL. There's some things that still, can't get enough of, and that's America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, always in the headlines. Seems we got Amari Cooper. Still,
Yes.
The rumors are swirling. I've heard rumors of him maybe in Atlanta. I've heard rumors of him maybe with the Ravens. I saw that today, and obviously the Jags. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I know it's clickbait. I know it's to get people talking. We have a show, so I guess we fall in line with that too. It gives us something to talk about as well. So what are you thinking about that, Jimmy?
Well, I'm more intrigued. So with the Ravens, what was it, Marcus Peters maybe?
Yeah.
Was that okay?
Marcus Peters in a draft pick.
In a draft pick. With us, honestly, that's something that might make sense. It's a fresh start for both guys. And I think it sounds like Amari Cooper is pretty pissed off from everything I'm reading. If there's trade rumors out there, there's some validity to it. And that might be the smart move. I mean, think about it. This was Amari Cooper's first or second season where he didn't have 1,000 yards receiving. Am I
No, it was
right
his first season. He didn't get the opportunities.
Right.
No opportunities. So it's like I don't understand it. And sorry, we talked about it a few weeks ago. If they're not going to use him, to his ability, then we're paying him $22 million doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
My thought is we'll use him to his ability. And it's frustrating as a Cowboys fan because we went into the season last year and we talked about this, receiving core. You got two number ones with CD and Amari. You got Gallup as number two. You had Cedric Wilson. We were about as deep as can be. And now we're going into the next season, and they're, you got to have Coop. You got to keep Gallup, Cedric Wilson. He's a free agent. The really only guarantee you have coming back is CeeDee Lamb, and then you got people talking about is he a legit number one? And all I can say is from every game I've watched, and again, given the opportunity, he stepped up when he needed to. And I don't know if it's just the media hype. Stephen Jones came out today. They asked him point blank about Amari Cooper, and he sidestepped it a little bit. So, sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. And it's going to be an interesting month coming up because they're going to have to make a decision sooner than later.
Well, and it's funny because I would take that trade, Ridley for Cooper. I take it in a heartbeat. I love Ridley, and as I've said previously, I don't want to see him go. I mean, our GM Fontenot said he's not counting him out yet. So, maybe there's some stuff behind the scenes going on. And that was just a couple of days ago that he said that. But
he hasn't played, right? He had a mental health. He needed his break. So I'm thinking, are we going to get if we get the Ridley that was there before? Hey, maybe that sounds like a pretty good trade. I'm sure his contract is a little bit more favorable for the Cowboys, but
it is.
If you're getting the Ridley that hadn't played all year, I don't know how great of a trade that would be.
Well, but I mean, that's the thing was he just upset in Atlanta? There was never really a clear indication as to why he left. I mean, again, I've been down and I have family down in Broward County, and I've seen him twice out and about when I've been down there visiting family. And I'm not going to bother him. He's with his family, but you see him out there walking, doing his thing. And obviously there's something going on there, whether he's legitimately got family issues or something else going on. If he's just not happy in Atlanta, I don't know. But my thing, if I agree with you, you're getting a great deal as far as salary and all that. I think he's $13.5 million. He's up for this year. Yeah. But the question is it going to be an Amari Cooper situation where he's not used? Mm-hmm. Is he going to get targets?
I mean, they got a target him. They got him. If they lost Ridley, they pretty much have Pitts, right? They don't have much.
Well, we got Pitts
out wide.
No, and the thing is, even Russell Gage, who would be next, he's a free agent. Yeah. So I mean, we're kind of screwed.
Well, I mean, I've seen Coop. The last few years, he's about the best route runner there is. I don't know too many better, and I don't know why we've never used him to the full ability. Moving him around, taking advantage of mismatches, his route running, put him in the slot, have him line up. Obviously, he lines up. I mean, every spot he can play. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't know if it's a thing with a coordinator. I know Dak, if you think back when they tried to do the Dak-friendly offense and they had all these, Allen Hurns they signed, they had Cole Beasley. it was a disaster. I mean, we started the season like crap. They made the trade for Cooper, and there was they took a lot of hits for it, giving up first round. And Coop was kind of in the Raiders. He kind of fell off a little bit, had some drops, and there was some issues there with the team. They just weren't doing well. You get Cooper, and all of a sudden, Dak's numbers explode. We start winning. We go on a big win streak. Offense has changed, and it wasn't that long ago. And I don't know what is, why this has transpired the way it has, but it's really disappointing. Because you hate to ruin a good thing, and that leads me to the other topics of the Cowboys is Micah Parsons. So it was out, and again, it's off season, so everyone's going to run through all their speculations. They're all going to try and figure things out. Do you move Micah Parsons to a full-time DN, or do you leave him as kind of a hybrid? What he's doing now, he's all over the place. Me personally, he's got a special skill set. And that skill set can be used at linebacker, can be used at DN. I think you want to play him around. I don't think you want to isolate him, rushing a passer every single down. I think he's too fast. He's got too much skill, and he's a beast. He's a lion, as he says. And I think you need him all over the field. I know you probably don't follow the Cowboys as closely as I do, but I'm sure you heard about Parsons. I mean, defensive rookie of the year. So, I mean, what's your thought when you have that kind of player that is a tweener that can do so many different things? Do you want him to just focus on one and be great at one, or do you want him to be really, really good to great on almost all avenues of his game?
No, you focus on one. I mean, I can't see. You don't want a jack of all trades. If somebody's great in one area, why do you spread it around like that?
Yeah, see, I would disagree. I mean, I think situationally, he's a linebacker. His side-to-side speed when you've got these mobile quarterbacks is something you want. I mean, the guy runs a 4.38, so he's got that side-to-side speed. But what you can do in situations, on passing situations, on surprise blitzes, maybe you blitz him, from the linebacker position. I think his skill set allows our defense and allows Quinn to use him in so many different ways that it's just too much of a benefit to say you're going to rush the passer 50 snaps a game, whatever it is. That's where you're going to be. They know where you're at the whole time. I like the element of surprise where you're moving them all around. It really makes the offense really think about where he's at every play.
So is that why you expressed an interest in Fowler last week when you found out he was cut?
I mean, he's a Quinn guy, so there might be, I think there's always an intriguement. You see what we've done with some of the Falcon guys. You know them better than me, but we got Neal, right?
Yeah.
And at linebacker, I thought he did really well. So, and we got the safety. He was in there. He made some plays. I think Curse kind of jumped ahead and kind of from the free agency spot took the thunder away from everything. But we've made some pretty good acquisitions with Quinn's guys.
Yeah, and those were all his guys that he brought in. And Keanu Neal, I loved him. I mean, he would blow guys up, man. He was just solid. And the thing with Fowler is, so and I kind of looked into this a little bit more because you said, geez, they cut him so quickly. They released him so quickly. He took a salary hit cut last year, and they put a lot of incentives in there. He had 4 sacks all year, and I guess they just agreed that this wasn't the right fit. So that's why they said, we'll just cut you, and then you can kind of figure things out.
Yeah, well, we'll see where he lands. I mean, I was looking at some of the free agency. It seems to be rich with receivers. Obviously, you got Devontae Adams and you got Chris Godwin, leading the way. I don't know what's going to happen. You got Godwin he's coming off an injury. Is he going to get that demand? But he's young. I mean, is he going to get that big contract, or is he going to go on a kind of a prove it deal? Devontae Adams, I think it's going to be interesting to see what the Packers do, because if they move on from Rodgers, I mean, I don't know how much Devontae Adams is going to be wanting to stick around, but they could franchise him, and he ain't going to have much of a choice, but you probably have an unhappy receiver if you do that. So it's going to be interesting to see how this free agency plays out.
So if Rodgers ends up in Denver, right, do they have enough cap space? If Devontae said, geez, I want to go along with Aaron out to Colorado.
Well, and that leads us to what you and we talked about, before the show a little bit, is the salary cap. Yeah. And it's a mythical number. It's It's fantasy in a way. It's a credit card. You know, that's probably one of the best ways to put it.
That's exactly.
You can move things around to, you know, you look what the Saints did. The Saints restructured. They're like 70-something million over the cap. They restructured 3 contracts to clear up 34 million. So it brought their cap number down. They're still over, but that's how quickly you can do it. There was a story done about the Cowboys, and they went through line by line, player by player of restructuring deals. They could be 80 million under the cap. I mean, they could re-sign everyone they want if they wanted to go all in. Now, what happens is eventually you got to pay the piper. And that's where I think we talked about Matt Ryan with his cap hit. Everyone said, "Oh, he's the highest paid quarterback." No, he's not. No. They just kept moving the money around, and eventually it's gonna catch up with you.
And you know, it's funny. I was going around with some people on social media this past weekend, and you know, people don't get it. Like you said, people think, "Oh, it's a $48 million salary cap hit." You know, don't open your mouth unless you understand. It's a hard cap. Okay, he's not getting paid $48 million. The team is capped. I think this upcoming season it's going to be like $205 million of hard cap. That's the most a team can spend. So Matty Ice, wanting to be a winner, has deferred, and it's just kind of accumulated over the last several years since he signed the big contract 4 years ago. So, I mean, look, so he's done his deal. And people, and again, we don't have the same drama that Dallas has, but what we do have is we have, you know, people, it's always this big thing with Matty Ice, and you know, he's great. He sucks. There's nothing in between. I don't know how anybody says he sucks. I scratch my head at that, but they blame him for the Super Bowl loss, which again, getting back to what I said, that was stupid ass Shanahan's fault for horrible.
100%.
Right. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think he's done everything he needs to do and wants to do to get the Falcons in a position to win. That is why we are where we are. And like you said, you're going to have to pay someday. You're going to pay the piper. And now's the time. He accounts for 23% of our cap hit.
Yeah, that's a big number. Well, and you look at what the Cowboys did, the same thing they did with Zeke. They restructured Zeke. Zeke's guaranteed it's $18 million. If you cut him, they cut him today, they cut him June 1st, they got to eat that money. So he's not going anywhere. Right. And that's why these guys, cut Zeke. What do you can't replace him, and I'd rather have him. And and that's what happens. They've moved. You know, Dak is going to restructure. It's going to clear up some cap, but that's going to get pushed off. And what these owners are hoping for is that cap will continue to go up. If you got an NFL TV deal and, you know, revenue sharing, if the cap goes up, then they make out well. But you watch it. I mean, you look what the Rams did. You look at what some of these teams do. And you, as a fan, you're sitting like, how the hell do they get all these guys? And we're like right at the cap, and they keep finding ways. It's just being creative with the money. It's you know, it's a skill that these GMs have to have. And it's, do you want to go all in, go in and win, and you pay the price later? And for me, as a Cowboys fan, as the drought has been, man, I would trade it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and we talked about that. The Rams, they set it up perfectly, man. Well, look, speaking of the Rams, ODB, I think he's a free agent. If I remember correctly.
Odell?
Beckham. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's one of the guys on the list. They got him ranked like 18.
Yeah.
Overall, they did NFL.com did a 101 top free agents, so he's up there. Coming off an injury, though, you're looking at him. It's like, well, he's probably not going to see the field till November. But if you get a team, you know, like Dallas, you get a team that, you know, maybe the Rams again or one of these other ones, they may, you know, make a move to get them. And that's what you've seen with the NFC. The landscape is changing because now, you know, Brady's gone. You know, Rodgers, you don't know what's going to happen, but I'd be shocked if the Packers traded him to an NFC team. If they're going to trade him, he's going to the AFC. There's no way in hell that they're going to trade him to a NFC team. So let's say he's out of the division. Russell Wilson, you don't know what's going to happen to him, but Seattle's kind of they're falling off anyway. So now, who are these top teams? There's only a few.
The funny part is it was something in the rumor mill in a couple places I saw about Matt Ryan for Russell Wilson, and we'd send it would have been an even swap, which I think is crazy. I don't think that makes any difference whatsoever.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't think you're gaining.
No, I don't think we're gaining. And again, it gets back to we allowed 40 sacks on Matt Ryan last year as an offense. As a defense, we only had 18 or 19 sacks on opposing quarterbacks. So without making changes on the offensive line, it isn't going to do a damn thing. I don't care who's behind, who's quarterback. Doesn't matter.
Well, that's the thing. You can get whoever you want, but if you don't have a line, that's what I mean. Russell Wilson would be great for him if they had the line to protect him, but Matt Ryan would be great too for him if they had the line to protect him. So, moving quarterbacks is not, unless you're looking at a fresh start, maybe he's going to re-energize the fan base if they're getting, getting hard, hard on Ryan and wanting to move forward to something fresh. So, that's really the only reason you would do it. I just don't think it's going to make them a better team unless they get the pieces around them better, which again they would have either way. Both quarterbacks are top-notch quarterbacks when given the tools.
Right, and it's only a 3 to 4 year age difference between the two of them. It isn't like Russell Wilson's 27, 28. And you're like, wow, okay, so it's just not an option. It's just stupid. So I guess we'll see what happens. But we got a lot of problems with that's a major issue, and you can't just keep deferring because we're going to be in a worse spot next year.
No, it's going to catch up, but like I said, with the NFC where it's at in limbo a little bit, I'd be intrigued. And Dallas has never been a big player in free agency. I think our last big free agent signing was Brandon Carr at cornerback. I think they signed him for 5 years, $50 million. A long time ago. We've typically waited that first wave, and we've gotten that second or third wave of free agents where you're kind of getting a lower cap number. It's usually a 1 or 2 year deal. And I'll give Cowboys credit. The front office, we all like to knock them, but they've made some very good free agent pickups, value free agency pickups that have paid dividends to this team, especially on defense. So there's something to be said for being smart, and you've seen it with the Rams. You go all in, but typically when you spend all that big money on free agency to get these guys, it tends not to work out in your favor long term and even short term. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. So, but one thing that wasn't on our topic, but I just wanted to ask you if you had the chance to watch it, you might not have, is the Joe Montana a documentary that was on Peacock, but then if you got some other services, you can find it on there too.
No, I haven't seen it.
You did? It is.
No.
I'm telling you, I'm just going to I don't do a lot of public service announcement of recommendation of movies or shows. I'm telling all the listeners, and I'm telling you, kids, anyone, you watch that documentary. It was amazing. And it made you, I did not realize, because I was a kid during his era, how good he was. I knew he was good, but how good he was. And really, he had none of the skill sets that these quarterbacks, all the measurables that they want. And he was constantly, battling through Notre Dame and then obviously with the 49ers. But it was a phenomenal story. So that was just real quick. It's been on my mind, and I meant to text you about it. But I would definitely recommend any NFL football fan. It doesn't matter what team you are. If you're a football fan, it's probably one of the best documentaries I've seen on a player.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. You said it's only on Peacock though.
It is, but if you got other services, you can find it.
I think my crack producer
services. You got
my
ways
crack
around
producer
it.
will get on that one. So getting back real quick to the free agency, I saw Cordell Patterson on Twitter, basically saying, "Look, re-sign me." So Arthur Blank, if you're listening, open up your checkbook and re-sign the man. He wants to play, and he's good. Make it happen. Come on.
Hey, I still say when we played you guys last year, I was shocked the lack of touches and the lack of production opportunities they gave him. He was the one X factor that concerned me. And then thankfully the score got I don't mean to rub it in again, but I will. The score got so out of hand that it really didn't much matter. So
we're not going to talk about that.
I know. We move on. We move on to next season. But speaking of next season.
Well, wait, hold on. One more thing. The other funny thing, talking about the AFC South, I heard about Deshaun Watson maybe going to Carolina. And I just started laughing. I started laughing. I said, bring it on. Let them take all that extra baggage. It's just, that'll work out perfectly for us. He's got way too much baggage to bring to Carolina. You don't know
if he's going to be suspended a year. I mean, there's been nothing from the NFL. Of course, if he was he was a Cowboy, he'd be suspended 2 years. But that's that's the bias that we have. The commissioner, for some reason, just does not seem to like us. All our guys seem to get suspended, and others just get a slap on the wrist. So you don't know. The guy's dynamic. I mean, he's a good quarterback. I don't want to call him a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback. But he hadn't played in a year. He's got all these issues, legal issues. I personally, unless they were making a hell of a deal, but what Houston's been asking, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it at all.
That's why I was laughing. I said, good.
No, that's South. People talk about the NFC least and dogging us all the time, but go look at that NFC South next season. You let me know how that shakes out and what you think of them. So, but anyway. Let's move on to next season, and it just got released, and I want to get your opinion on it because I've got feelings on it myself, is the international games. So now we've got 5 international games next season. You've got 3 in London, we've got 1 in Mexico, and I believe we got 1 in Germany. I think the Buccaneers are in Germany. So I think it's a distinct disadvantage to these teams. They pretty much are losing a home game. So they're losing a home game, all the travel, all of the other stuff that goes with it. And it's not baseball. It's not basketball where you have 82 games, 162 games. You have 16 games, and you saw how this season comes down to one game, one mistake, one play, this, that. It's either that's getting you into the playoffs, that's winning the division, that's not getting you into the playoffs, that's getting you a first-round bye. It's all that stuff. I am dead set against it, and I looked at this schedule, and I'm looking at the Packers, and I'm looking at the Jaguars, and I'm saying, you know what? Dallas plays both of those teams on the road, and they better not be playing over there. I hope not. I don't think they will because they did it to Dallas against when we played Jacksonville. In Jacksonville, we had to play in London, and I just can't see them having the Cowboys play the Packers overseas when you got McCarthy going back to Lambeau, and I mean that's going to be kind of one of those marquee games on Fox's schedule. I don't see it happening. But what's your thoughts on the NFL? I understand wanting to broaden it, but impacting real games in the NFL. What's your thoughts?
Well, and I'll say this because I have family in Italy. I've been to Europe a few times, and it's tough, man. You're making up for time with the jet lag there and back. You're tired. And I don't care what anybody says. It takes a couple days to catch up. I don't care if you're sleeping on the plane, not sleeping, whatever the deal is. So, you have that factor there and back. Second thing, I look at the NHL, and the NHL does it the right way. They have games in Europe and Asia, and typically, it's always like before the season, like before they start here in North America. So they'll play their either regular season or preseason games, wherever it may be, Europe or Asia, and then come back and they're home. They're in North America for the rest of the season. So you do it on the front end. They come home, they get a few days off, a week off, then they move on. In the NFL, there's a much shorter season. So like you said, you're losing a home game. B, with that shorter season, there's just, if you're having a game in the middle, you're screwing those guys on both ends as far as just being there and being aware and, being good to go. So I agree with you. You're trying to broaden the market. I get it. If you're going to do it, which is tough because you don't want to do it all at once. You don't want to blow your load at once. Okay. Pardon the expression. But the whole point is you can't have 4 games in Europe on the same weekend because that dilutes it, right? Yeah. So it's a much more difficult scenario.
Weekend, I think they will spread it out.
No. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, if the NFL did it like hockey does,
I got you.
And front ends it, front loads it. You just can't do that because then it dilutes it. So when you do it in the middle of the season, it's unfair to the teams and players. So it's tough. You want to make money. You want to make it an international sport, but it's a very tough situation.
Yeah, I mean that's what the World League's for. You go back to that and send them over there if you want to do it, man. NFL. It's just the games matter too much, and I am just dead set against it. It's nothing against. I've got friends in England. I've got friends in Australia. I got friends all around on social media. So it's nothing against that. I just look at it from a competitive standpoint. I think it's a disadvantage. Now, if the Cowboys aren't playing in any of them, I could care less. Have at it. Do what you got to
Right.
do. Just don't send my Cowboys over there because I don't want no part of it. If you do, send them to Mexico. That's close.
You know what? Actually, and exactly, Mexico's right here. That's like it's closer for somebody to travel down to Mexico than it is from, let's say, Seattle down to Miami, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Hey, just tell your friends in Australia to put a little shrimp on the bobby.
Well, they'll probably be sending something over there too. NFL wants to get world. I understand it, but
Yes.
I just it's not cool. And the thing they better never do is they better never send a Super Bowl outside the U.S.
No,
That'll be the
that
end
won't
of it.
happen.
That'll be the end of it for me. That's the biggest game. It needs to stay in the U.S. so we can enjoy it. So, but one other thing that came out, I think they've been talking about it for a while, but I know the Buccaneers being in Tampa, they were talking about the creamsicle uniforms coming back. So,
Yeah.
2022, we're finally able to get the throwbacks back. And I don't know if you know the full story of it, but just in case the audience doesn't. So they stopped doing the throwbacks because of player safety. Now, this has got to be some of the biggest crock I've ever heard. But because of player safety, you couldn't change your helmet. So the helmet that they had, so like the Cowboys, their traditional silver helmets, they had the white ones they used to wear on Thanksgiving. They couldn't wear, they'd have to wear the same helmet. So it looked stupid. So you have the new helmet with the throwback. So no team wanted to do that because it looked ridiculous. So now they backed away. And now you can go back to the throwback. So it was a big story in Tampa because they want to get it, but now they're having supply chain issues on getting the uniforms. So they probably aren't going to be able to unveil them. At least Tampa won't until 2023, which I don't know. It still doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But I'm happy for the throw. I love the throwback uniforms when they play them, and I just think it brings another level to the game. It's cool to see some of the old stuff. As us seeing the 80s uniforms or the Dolphins in their old school uniforms.
Yeah.
I cannot stand the new logo that they have. I think it drives me nuts every time I see it. So I'm excited to see it. Is it something the Falcons break out those old reds?
Old red, yeah. No,
yeah.
I love it. You know what? It's nice. I mean, first of all, it's a great marketing ploy on the part of the teams that are doing it. They're making a lot more dough. And secondly, it is cool. It's different. It's old school. It reminds us when we were younger,
Yeah.
So no, I love it. And it's kind of funny that for helmets, they need to wait another season. That makes no sense to me.
Well, it tells me they're not made in the U.S., so that's something maybe I ought to work on that too. So,
I agree.
Keep things here. We won't have this problem with supply chain because I know in anyone's world today, that's we tried to buy a refrigerator for the house. We had to wait 3 months. My dad was trying to get a freezer. He had to wait 3 to 4 months. Everything is just crazy now. So, but yeah, so it's a light NFL week. There wasn't a lot going on. I was hoping there was more. We're going to get into some draft stuff. Like I said, when we're going to be talking about the draft, it's going to be from a fan's perspective. I'm not cutting up tape. I'm a college football fan, so I know, the main guys. But if you're digging in the weeds for some 7th round gem, it's probably not going to be the show you want to tune into to learn about because it ain't happening. But we can tell you about the big dudes in the 1st round, 2nd round, and stuff like that.
You're not going to hear Mel Kiper. You're not going to. Remember the Colts, the laughing stock of the league?
He knows about as much as my postman.
Remember that, Jeff? You remember that one?
Yeah, but we're going to get into some of it. But I know, Jimmy, you wanted to touch on a couple things, and then we'll wrap it up. I know a little bit of NBA, and that's where I lean to you. You're the NBA guy, and a little bit on the NHL. So the floor is yours.
Well, first off, did you get a chance to watch your Tampa Bay Lightning play the outdoor game in Tennessee this past weekend?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't, but I am going to a Lightning game. We're going to a game. I think next month we got a whole group. We're gonna go check out a game. So I'm gonna get re-educated in the sport.
Good
for the people.
Yeah, I mean they put on a good show. Played it at Titan Stadium. It was Nashville against Tampa. Tampa Bay won 3-2. Sellout crowd, 68,000. It was pretty cool. Those outdoor games are always fun to watch. Even if you don't watch hockey, scope out some of these outdoor games. It's pretty cool seeing them playing stadiums. They played at Yankee Stadium. They played at Michigan, Notre Dame. They played, all sorts of. Maybe it'll be AT&T one day. We'll see. That would be pretty cool to get Dallas Stars play. But I find it funny because 2 of the top 5 teams in the league are out of Florida. The Panthers lost 3 in a row, but still.
I can't believe the Panthers are good. It's like we were talking because we were trying to figure out a game to go to, and we were trying to find a game that was maybe not, a high-level game that we can get tickets reasonable, get some good seats at a decent price. So my brother and I threw out the Panthers, and our buddy who's a big hockey fan, he goes, man, Panthers are like one of the best teams in the NHL. I'm like, yeah, is Van Beersburg still the goalie? I mean, what's going on here? I said, I can't believe they always sucked every time I remember.
No, man, they're playing great, and like I said, they're on a 3-game slide, but they'll come back and they'll be fine. They had some bad goaltending, some bad defense the last 3 games. Maybe I'm the jinx. I was at the game on Tuesday, so I don't know. Maybe I'm the jinx because they've been on a 3-game slide ever since. But anyway, check it out. I think there's one more outdoor game this year. Check it out. I like TNT. TNT is doing a great job with running their programming. It's almost as good as the NBA on TNT. They're doing a good job. So getting over to the NBA, we're talking about the Knicks. You and I were on an executive phone call on Friday night, having a little meeting. And I was saying, hey, RJ Barrett has 30 points at the half. We're playing against the Heat. I said, I guarantee you we lose this game. And I hate to be a cynic. I mean, I might have a couple glasses of wine in me at the time, and that's okay. But and as usual, going into the fourth quarter, the Knicks close game ended up losing to the Heat. 2 days later, and remember the Heat, I think they're first in the division, right?
Yeah,
definitely a top 5 team. A couple days later, yesterday, we're playing the 76ers. It's a 2-point game in the fourth quarter. Blow the game again. So it's amazing how we can play 3 quarters of basketball, but can't close it down. It's just frustrating. So I guess we'll see what happens.
What Knicks do.
Yes.
That's they're breaking my heart. That's unfortunately right. the life that as a Knicks fan, I remember them in the 90s with Ewing and them. They were fun to watch, but those days have been long time ago for them. It's kind of like with the Cowboys. I mean, we've tasted some disappointment, and when we lose in the playoffs, we lose bad ways. It's never been a just you lost the game. It's always you get your heart ripped out one way or the other. So hopefully our luck will change. And then I thought the Knicks' luck was changing going from last season. They made the playoffs and got a little bit going. Yeah. So it was it's unfortunate to see them fall. But I was happy to see the Heat. I'm not a huge basketball fan, but I did, I remember the Heat when they first came on board with all the guys lost 21 in a row. So I was a Heat fan, growing up. So it's good to see them back on top.
Little trivia. I was actually at the Heat's very first home win against the Utah Jazz, 101-80. Yeah. And so it's pretty cool. But the Knicks, I don't know. Obviously they're not making the playoffs, but the Garden will be rocking in June because the Rangers are going to make the playoffs, and I'll be happy there. I just wish it's fun when both of them make it because it's a camaraderie.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, the guys will show up at the games. You'll see Rangers, courtside at Knicks games, and some of the Knicks players rolling into the Rangers game. It's fun. So, but it's not happening this year.
No, that's why I hate living in Tampa because I got to hear all this Champa Bay because they had the Bucks and the Lightning and the Rays, which I like the Rays. There were all these teams going to the World Series and the playoffs, and I just got to hear the chatter of everyone in my ear every day making fun of my team. So, but I do understand it because it does uplift the city. I mean, it brings a little bit of pride to the area, and it makes a lot of fun if you're a fan of every team. It makes it really cool. So,
but
hopefully
let's remember though.
See it.
I was gonna say we all know the Bucks aren't going anywhere this season though.
No,
so
nothing
to worry about
their
there.
guard who's like 27. He's Pro Bowl. He just retired. So I mean they've got they've got another hole to fill on top of obviously losing Brady, and I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. There's so many rumors going around with that team and what they're going to do. It's going to be interesting, but no, just again moving forward. We've got a new platform, so we're doing everything we can to improve the quality, to make it more enticing. We've got some guests coming up. I don't want to spill the beans, but hopefully we're going to have a NFL what I would call a legend, Super Bowl champion that is going to be joining our show. We're just kind of working out the logistics, but we're going to shoot for next week. If not next Monday, it'd be the following Monday, but we're going to try really hard for next week. So you guys got to stay tuned. You got to keep following. You got to subscribe. Like I said, we are climbing that subscriber list, and we're up over 824, 25, somewhere in there. Once we get to 1,000, there's going to be something, not in this room, but there's going to be something that's going to be prize given away, and I'll say it's a Pro Bowl player. It's a current player. It's going to be something that I'm here to help you guys in Cowboys Nation dress up that cave. You guys love my cave, so I want to make sure I want to pass on the love to you guys. So we want to make something happen for you. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us on YouTube or Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Mike Tag on Facebook. We're going to come up with a Tag Nation Facebook fan page, so we'll be able to do some interactive stuff on there. We've got live streaming. What do you say, Jimmy? How far out are we? What's the producer say? Are we close?
Are we close, Mr. Producer? I'm getting a thumbs up. Yep. Tom says thumbs up. Hopefully.
I hear him. I'm going to hold him to it. So I think in a couple of weeks, we're going to be able to start doing a live show. Because like we said, we want callers. We want to interact. We want to be able to chat with you guys. It's all about you. So if there's something that we're not covering, or if there's something you disagree with us on, or you agree, leave a comment. Let us know, and we'll definitely respond. And it's something that we can debate and maybe invite you on our show, because that's the other thing we want to do is we want to have some fans on the show. We want to have some of our followers and obviously some of the Cowboy fans. I've got a special treat for Jimmy. I've got a fan, because we're going to set up a little debate. I've got a buddy of mine who's a big basketball fan, big LeBron fan. So we might do a little bit of a little PTI, so to speak. I'll be the moderator. I'll make sure that it's clean. I'll make sure there's no trouble, and we'll give these guys an opportunity to have maybe the great debate of MJ LeBron, or we can maybe just do old school versus new school and have some fun with it. So what do you think about that, Jimmy? You looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking for, it'll be a little. No, I'm not going to spill the beans. I know I'm going to go with that one.
Okay.
And I'm going to come out as a champ.
So we've got a lot of fun stuff stored. So listen, make sure you subscribe, follow us, comment, do all the good things, because we are just getting this show started. Like I said, it is just the beginning. When the season starts, that's when we're going to go full force. And then hopefully, maybe Jimmy and I will be down at AT&T. We'll be hanging with some of Cowboy Nation. We'll be getting Miller Lite so cold. Woo! You can freeze the hand off an Eskimo. So you guys stay with it, because this party is just getting started. Now, can you dig it?